How you doing, guys? Today we got the second item that I'm sending to Zombie Go Boom. Before you develop any notions about this thing, don't. This is not a sword, it's not a machete, this is a club. It's a blunt weapon. Sorry about the little scuff, I already tested this thing a little bit. But the concept behind this weapon is essentially the same as the Bone Breaker shafts on either of the hammers that I've made. Just like a really heavy weapon with a really small striking surface to generate crazy PSI when it hits something. So at this point you might be wondering, like, why bother not putting a blade on it? Like, what's that gonna hurt? Well, the answer is you. If you're swinging around a weapon that's coated in zombie blood, the slightest little nick on yourself could potentially be the end of you. So I'm not saying that blades are ineffective for a zombie apocalypse. If you've got a moderate amount of skill with them, you're probably not gonna cut yourself. But all I'm saying is, with this thing, you would basically have to be trying to cut yourself in order to cut yourself on it. And I'm also not trying to say that this weapon is superior to machetes or clubs. Every single weapon has its advantages and disadvantages. To name a few of each, the Bone Splitter weighs less than a club, which means that it has less stopping power, but that also means that you'll be able to swing it faster, i.e. more swings per minute. It'll also fatigue you less when you swing it. And to compensate for the lower weight, like I said, it's got that really small striking surface, so I think it would be at least as effective at breaking bone as a regular rounded club. When comparing it to a machete, it doesn't have a sharp edge on it, which essentially makes it useless for slicing or dismemberment, but it's also much heavier while sharing a similar striking surface to a machete, which provides, in combination, much more stopping power and bone breaking ability than a machete has. My point: none are better or worse than the other. Every weapon has its pros and cons depending on your physical strength, your fighting style, just what you value in a weapon. It's all a matter of taste, really. I just made this thing to be a really good medium between the two. And just to go over the versatility of this weapon really quick, you may have noticed these little pieces on the back right here. Not only do these add weight to the weapon, but they widen the back of it to make it a little more comfortable if you want to brace your second hand up against it to create a barrier between you and a zombie. My personal favorite, to bash a zombie's teeth in. Or in case there's a zombie on top of one of your friends, you can flip it over like this and hold it from the back edge, put it over the zombie's neck, pull it off your friend. There's tons of different things this thing can be used for. And obviously you can't really do any of the stuff involving bracing your second hand up against the back of it if you're holding a shield, but those are just extras, really. This is an awesome weapon with or without a shield. So let's build this thing. I know I warned you about bad video quality in the last video, but for this build video, not only did I film it on my old camera, but I filmed it before I got the extra lights that I'm using now. So not only is the video quality not that great, it's also kind of dark. You can still tell completely what's going on. It's just not this good looking. But I know you guys really don't care, so I don't know why I feel like I have to explain myself. So the main frame of the weapon is going to be made out of aluminum, which is known for its really high strength and its really lightweight. As you guys probably know, my favorite source of sheet aluminum is street signs, but if you plan on making this, don't you dare go out and steal any street signs, alright? These ones in particular I got from an uncle of mine who works for the city replacing vandalized street signs. You might notice that these are pretty pristine. There doesn't even seem to be anything wrong with them. They don't even have the holes punched through the plastic yet. They're getting rid of these ones because there's some kind of manufacturing defect and they're not reflective, and he got some special permission to let me have a few of them. So I've taken a Sharpie and drawn out this shape on the aluminum. The overall length is 24 inches with a 7-inch handle. The handle is 1.5 inches wide, and the part that's going to support the steel is 1.75 inches. So I'm going to cut this shape out with a jigsaw with a metal cutting blade on it. And now that I got it cut out, I trace it out onto the other side and cut this one out too. I've got this 2-inch wide steel flat bar that I got from Home Depot, and we're going to prepare it to cut it by laying the shapes that we just cut out onto it, tracing out what we want to cut. Once you've got all 3 of your pieces set out, then you're going to sandwich your steel in between your aluminum and try to keep the plastic on the inside to hold off the galvanic corrosion as long as possible. If you cut the pieces out correctly, the steel should go all the way to the back here and come out from the top about 1/4 inch. Then I bring it over to the vise and clamp it in, and then I'm going to drill 5 or 6 holes along the front edge of it, and then I'm going to flip it over and drill some more on the back edge of it. The holes are going to be 3/16 to be exact. So I've got all the holes drilled out. I also cut out a couple more small pieces of aluminum about 7 inches long But right now I'm gonna spray all this stuff with some flat black and then I'll get back to you. So I got all the pieces blacked out, now I'm gonna put it all together. And now that it's all together, I'm going to pop one of these rivets through each and every single one of these holes. And then once you've popped the rivet, you'll notice there's this little nub thing sticking off the end, so just bring it over to a vise and squish it down so it's got a much lower profile and it's much less likely to get caught on stuff. Now I could have used rivets on the whole entire thing, but right at the end I just used a big 3/8 inch bolt just because I think it looks kind of cool. But this is what we're going to do for the handle. We're going to take some scrap wood like this. This is poplar board. We're going to cut a basic shape of the handle out of it and put 2 pieces on both sides of this thing. Then we're going to drill holes through it. And this is kind of a new experimental method, at least for me, for attaching the wood to the handles. After we've drilled the holes through the thing, then we're going to take these dowel pins and tap them through and then cut them to size and then wrap the whole thing in paracord. Here are the basic shapes, 5 inches by 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut them out on a scroll saw, but you can use a jigsaw or even a hacksaw for this. I cut the 2 pieces out and I put them on the sides, and I put a whole bunch of clamps to make sure they don't slide around and the holes stay consistent with each other. So now I'm just going to take a drill and drill 2 holes, maybe 3, into this thing, and then we're going to tap those pins through. After you drilled your first hole, take something that is the same diameter as the hole. I'm going to use this 1/4 inch bolt, put it through, and then I'm going to put the nut on the other end of it. This will make sure everything stays lined up. Now I'm going to drill my other hole right here. I put another bolt through that hole and a nut on the other side, and actually before we put the pins through, we're going to take a file, or as my European brothers like to call it, a rasp, and we're going to work the edges away until it's round and more comfortable in your hand. We got the pieces rounded out, now let's put them back on and tap the pins through. This is my first time ever using these pins, so I had no idea how it was going to work out. The fit is okay, but I think I'm still going to stick some wood glue on it. The only reason you wouldn't want to glue it down is if you were thinking in the future sometime you might want to take these pieces of wood off and use something else, but I don't really think I'm going to, so yeah, I'm going to stick some wood glue inside the holes first. And once the glue's dried, I'm going to use a hacksaw and saw these little pins off of it. I sliced off the nubs and sanded it down so it's nice and smooth and there's no more glue around it. Now this is all going to get covered up with a paracord, but just for the heck of it, I'm going to put some red oak 215 on it, just in case there's any showing after I put the paracord wrap on it. And once this is dry and I wipe off the excess, then I'm going to give it a paracord wrap. And there you go, the very first weapon to be used in combination with the riot shield. I'm calling this combo the Peacekeeper. So keep an eye out for the next video where I make a weapon that has virtually nothing to do with safety for the user. Let's see what happens when the only goal is making a zombie go boom. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.